Cain Velasquez was once on the path to becoming the greatest heavyweight the UFC had ever seen, but between injuries and shocking defeats, the legend couldn't fully reach his potential. Here's a look at all three of Cain's MMA losses. Cain Velasquez signed with the UFC in 2007 on the back of just 2 professional MMA bouts, in which he TKO'd both Jesse Fuyarchik and Jeremiah Constant.
Oh, nice attempt at a high kick, but it's Velasquez who just trips him up.
Velasquez now trying to finish off Jeremiah Constant, and I think he will. And that is it.
In his first 2 years in the UFC, Velasquez racked up 7 victories with 6 stoppages. He most notably beat Chik Congo, Ben Rothwell, and Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira to earn a shot at then heavyweight champion Brock Lesnar at UFC 121. Heading into the fight, Lesnar was his usual cocky self, as he claimed that he was too big for Velasquez.
Well, I think at the heavyweight division, I kind of stand out a little differently, because of my size and athleticism. You just don't see a guy with those kind of characteristics, and it's hard to match those. I can go out and find guys that can mimic Cain Velasquez or even Shane Carwin or guys like that. There's a lot of gentlemen out there in the fight game that are like that, but I feel blessed that they do have difficulties matching me as an opponent.
Not only that, he also brought up Velasquez's Mexican heritage to take shots at him.
When I get done whooping your ass, I'm gonna go drink a Corona and eat a burrito just for your Hispanic heritage, all right? How about that?
Velasquez couldn't care less. In fact, he was more than happy to embrace his roots and make history by bringing heavyweight glory to Mexico.
I mean, we're both American. I was born here in the U.S., but I have strong roots in Mexico. My parents are from Mexico. I lived 7 miles from the border growing up. So, I mean, I'm Mexican American. We're both American. But I'm just happy to represent. In boxing, we've had a strong heritage of boxers. There have been smaller guys, but champions, and we've never had a heavyweight champ. I think it's time that we have one, and I'm happy to be that person.
Though Lesnar was all talk outside the cage, he couldn't match that energy inside the octagon, as Velasquez dominated him on the feet and on the mat, sending the beast incarnate stumbling around the cage before ultimately finishing him in a devastating manner. Velasquez was now the UFC heavyweight champion, and Lesnar a no-show in the post-fight press conference.
Great being, the first heavyweight Mexican champion of the UFC. I'm gonna keep representing. This belt I dedicate to the people, Mexican people here in the United States and in Mexico.
Velasquez's dominant victory over Lesnar transformed him into a force in the heavyweight division, who was tipped to rule for a long time, but his hype was about to hit a temporary roadblock. Heading into his first title defense against Junior Dos Santos, Velasquez was expecting an exciting fight from his opponent.
For both of us, exciting fighting styles. We don't go out there and throw boring fights. None of our fights have been boring. We go out there and pretty much both of us try to go forward. And that's what the fans are going to see. That's what people who have never watched the sport are going to see.
Dos Santos wasn't looking forward to an exciting fight. He was looking to take the champ's head clean off.
So I really want to win. I want to win the title, and I want to be the first one to beat Cain.
Dos Santos stepped into the cage with a focused mindset, and it paid off when he landed a powerful right hand that sent Velasquez crashing down. He quickly followed up with ground and pound and pulled off a stunning upset to capture the belt. Following a heartbreaking loss, Velasquez fought his way back by dismantling Antonio Bigfoot Silva, earning a rematch against Dos Santos. Cain reclaimed the title in their second fight and went on to defend it against Silva and Dos Santos again. With 4 straight victories over Brazilian opponents, it seemed like Velasquez had unlocked the secret to defeating fighters from the South American nation, until Fabricio Werdum came calling. Werdum and a number of other heavyweight legends signed with the UFC after the UFC took over Strikeforce, and Cain was ecstatic about their arrival.
All those guys are great, top-level guys. I'm glad that the UFC finally, can lay down the road, mesh everybody together, so the fans and me, can have a true #1 champion. I want to fight the best guys. Those guys are the best guys too, but
if only he knew. Werdum entered the UFC heavyweight fold like a house on fire, dispatching 5 opponents and winning the interim belt in the process to earn a unification bout against Velasquez at UFC 188. Werdum engaged in plenty of trash talk leading up to the fight, even taking a jab at Velasquez's Mexican heritage.
Va a ser contra Velasquez, una americana que se piensa que es mexicana.
That's a pretty personal thing to say that he said about you, right? An American who's trying to be a Mexican.
Again, you know what? I know what I am. I know where my blood is. I know where my parents come from. You know what I mean? That didn't bother me what he said. You know, bothered me is the next day trying to be all buddy, two-faced. I don't respect a person that does that.
And although Cain wasn't very welcoming of it, he wasn't necessarily fazed either. Though Cain claimed he wasn't too affected by Werdum's trash talk, the Brazilian's sly remarks, combined with the pressure of fighting in Mexico City, seemed to rattle the champion on fight night. The Brazilian jiu-jitsu expert opened up a cut above Velasquez's left eye in the first round, and the then heavyweight champion struggled with it throughout the fight, ultimately getting choked out in the third round to lose his title in front of a partisan crowd.
Next time, Fabricio was the best this evening, and that is all. And when I lost, it's because I was in this position I've been before, in a position of losing, and I felt that at that moment, he was better than I was.
A rematch with Werdum was initially scheduled for 8 months later at UFC Fight Night 82, but both fighters pulled out due to injuries. Velasquez then faced Travis Brown at UFC 200, where he secured a TKO victory in the final seconds of the first round. The rematch against Werdum was rescheduled at UFC 207. However, the Nevada State Athletic Commission deemed Velasquez unfit to compete after physical exams, and interviews revealed bone spurs on his back. From 2016 to 2019, Velasquez was sidelined by persistent injuries. When he finally made his return in 2019, the competition had become a lot tougher at heavyweight. More so, Cain didn't do himself any favors when he decided to face a beast like Francis Ngannou after a 3-year layoff. Ngannou was on his road back to the title, and he had already dispatched Curtis Blades when he faced Velasquez at UFC on ESPN in February 2019, yet the odds favored the former champ. Francis didn't mind it, however.
If you want to be the king, you have to be the king.
Francis did precisely that, taking down the former champion in a mere 26 seconds. He landed a punch that buckled Cain's knee so severely that the legendary fighter was unable to continue.
Felt great out there, relaxed. And then taking that one step I did with my left foot, I just felt something pop. And then when I tried to take another step, it was like, it just gave out on me. My knee gave out on me. I can't even believe that happened.
The loss was the end of Cain's journey inside the octagon, as he announced his retirement a few months later and transitioned into the world of professional wrestling. So these are the 3 crushing defeats that badly dented Velasquez's otherwise legendary career. Is Cain Velasquez one of the GOATs of the UFC heavyweight division? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our similar one on another heavyweight icon, Eric Butterbean Esch.